Hey everybody, welcome back. If you are new to the channel, my name is Christy and my channel is all about the intentional focus on money and mindset to decrease stress and increase joy and happiness in our lives. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart and something that I am definitely working on my mindset and shifting my mindset to be better about this one particular thing, and that is meal planning. So I am a single mom. I only have my son with me half of the time. And so this whole idea around cooking from home has been something that I've really struggled with, because I think as a single person, it feels really hard to be able to plan meals and cook at home for just one person, especially when most recipes are designed for larger families. And even if you have a recipe and things like that, it still feels like a lot of food, and then I'm wasting food. So, why bother? I should just, go eat out. And that really came into focus for me, that habit, and that being a bad habit, as I started getting into budgeting the latter half of 2020. Because as I looked at what I was spending on food across the course of a month, and I was eating out a lot. And granted, I wasn't eating out at restaurants, but I was having takeout, I was having delivery, fast food, just because of the convenience factor. So my side hustle, or one of my side hustles, is I'm a reseller. I'll talk about that in another video. But I end up going to the post office usually at least 3 times a week. And if I go at lunchtime, then it was really easy just to drop my packages off at the post office, stop, grab some fast food on the way home. And then, then I had my lunch or my dinner if I was going later on in the day. But that really adds up quickly when you start looking at how much money you're spending, especially if you're doing that every day. And so that's just not something that's sustainable as I'm looking at what I want to do and the goals for my money moving into 2021. So I just had to get smarter, and think about ways to get smarter about how I was spending money on food. So there are, a couple of what I would call limiting beliefs as I was really exploring my mindset around why I was having such a difficult time thinking about cooking at home. And of course, one of those being that I was cooking really just for myself or for my son when he was here, but he's 3, he's a picky eater, and even when he does eat well, he really doesn't eat that much. And so, there was that, where I'm cooking for one, but then going even further back, when I was married, I wasn't the cook in the household. My husband did all the cooking, and then the agreement was that I would do the cleanup. And, I kind of justified that in my mind because I would say, oh, well, he likes cooking and I really don't like cooking. I don't really cook that well. That isn't something that really excites me or makes me happy. So if I didn't have to cook, that was awesome. But that became a really embedded, I think, belief in my mind, was that I couldn't cook, or I really couldn't cook well. So that was the first one. The second one was that, I don't like leftovers. It's not fresh. It's not the same thing. Even when I would go out to eat, I would always say, no, you don't need to worry about boxing that up because, I suck at eating leftovers. So it would just be food that would go to waste anyways. So it kind of had another embedded belief that I really didn't do well with leftovers. So why even bother with that? And then if you're cooking at home and you have leftovers, even worse. And then the last one, is obviously meal planning is the way to think about being smarter about how you are using your dollars and the budget towards food. Meal planning just seemed really hard. It was too much work, it was too much planning, and I didn't want to spend my time, having to do meal planning. So having to really think about shifting all of these different mindsets, some that were really, really embedded in my brain, have been, some things that I've really been focused on in the last couple of months in looking at how I can decrease my overall spending for both grocery and eating out. It's just something I knew I had to do. So how can I get smarter? So, I'm working smarter and not harder at changing these different beliefs. And there were really, three, I think, different ways, 3 or 4 different ways that I've really looked at, helping shift those beliefs and those mindsets when it comes to meal planning for 1 1/2, as I say. So the first one was I really needed things to be easy. I couldn't make these huge, complicated meals. And I did try some subscription services because obviously that takes out having to grocery shop. I could pick my different recipes. And when those recipes would come, I found that sometimes they were a bit more complex or they took way more time than I thought they would take in order to make them. And when I have limited time in the evening, I really, on the nights when I have my son, I want to be very focused and present on being with him. And I didn't want to have to worry about, spending an hour in the kitchen trying to make dinner. So the first thing is I needed to find a way to make cooking at home easy. And I think we all know that the kind of Instant Pot revolution has definitely happened over the last couple of years. This idea of having dump and go meals or one pot meals, that seemed to be something I wanted to explore more. So I spent a lot of time just watching YouTube videos about this, especially recently as I'm trying to get very serious about my meal planning. And the one thing I would say is, just like you don't go to the grocery store hungry, don't watch these YouTube videos when you're hungry either, because I found there was a recipe today that I was watching it. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a good broccoli and cheese soup in forever. So I actually bought the ingredients for broccoli and cheese soup, and that's what I'm going to be making tonight in my quick cooker. So I have a quick cooker versus an Instant Pot. It is from Pampered Chef, but it is a pressure cooker, so it's the same concept. So finding recipes that could be cooked very quickly using my quick cooker was key for starting to shift that idea, that I couldn't cook very well, or that things were taking a lot of time in the kitchen, because I can really get all the ingredients together, throw them in my quick cooker, and then I can walk away and I can go focus on spending time with my son as opposed to spending a ton of time in the kitchen. So I'm really excited about all of these recipes. There were so many recipes that I found that I think I have different recipes that I want to try for the next probably 3 months. So that was actually pretty exciting to me. I'm really excited about that aspect. The next thing is focusing on recipes that I like and also that my son is more likely to like, because leftovers are going to be part of the equation. And I had to get over this idea that I didn't like leftovers. When you think about the practicality of cooking for one, and then I have leftovers, that actually allows me to have lunches already ready to go, just needing to be heated up for a day or two after I cook that meal. And I'm working from home right now for my full-time job. I've been working at home since March. And so this idea that I just have to walk downstairs, I don't have to think about what I need to make, what's going to be for lunch. I already actually have it ready and ready to go, and it just needs to be warmed up. So it doesn't take a lot of time out of my day to think about that. And suddenly that idea of eating leftovers became more appealing. And if I'm making recipes and focusing on recipes that I like, then again, I'm more excited about eating the leftovers because I liked it so much, the night before or 2 days before, that I'm excited to have another serving of that. So that was the idea, or that's the way that I started thinking differently about eating leftovers, because it actually helps my budget and it helps me in the long term with saving money and time. And then utilizing different strategies, I think, around your time is really important too. Like I said, meal planning felt really hard to me. And I didn't think that that's something that I really wanted to be spending a lot of time on, especially on, weekends and things when I had my son. And so utilizing strategies like grocery delivery. So I have the Target app. I have it connected with my Target debit card so I can save 5%. They have the delivery option where usually I can get my groceries within 2 hours, which is fantastic. So today I did my menu planning. I had my list. I put that, right into my Target app and had my groceries delivered an hour and a half later. And in that time that I saved, I was able to do things like plan out the idea for, this video and do a couple of other things around my side hustles to be able to be more productive with that time that I saved. So actually that's a win. And so starting to change that belief that meal planning, costs me more time. It's actually saving me time. So that was pretty cool. And then the last thing I think, and I'm going to talk about I'm going to show you what my menu plan looks like for this week, just so you can get an idea of what I was doing here, but really being aware of the gotcha moments. And so those are, I think, those times when you have something planned on your menu, and if you haven't thought about different activities or commitments that you might have during the week or during some of those times, then you are more likely to kind of chuck the original plan of cooking at home and instead, grab takeout, grab fast food, something that becomes a convenience. So as you're looking at your meal plan, you really want to think about some of those gotcha moments. So you have that already planned and a strategy around that. And I have one of those potential gotcha moments in my menu plan for this week. I'm really glad that I'm already thinking about it now. So let's kind of dive into this. So here's my menu plan for the week. And I know some YouTubers, they flip down their phone, they show this to you on your table, but I'm just gonna hold it up because I'm not that savvy yet with technology, so forgive me. So here's my menu plan. This is a free resource, by the way, that from the Budget Mom. So if you sign up for access to her free resources, which puts you on her mailing list, of course, you have access to a ton of different kind of budgeting resources like this. So I just printed this off from her free library of resources to be able to plan my meal planning for the week. So the first thing is I wanted to be sure to color in the times or the nights that I have my son. So those are nights when I have to be a bit more thoughtful about what I'm going to be cooking that night, because if I do want to try to entice him to eat, I want to be making something that he is more likely to eat. So thought about that ahead of time. When it comes to leftovers, here's another thing I've realized about myself as I've been working on shifting this mindset. If I make a recipe, I am good for probably 2 times after that to have that same meal in a short span of time. So then I start getting bored with it, then I don't want it. But if it's something I really like, if I make it for dinner, then I could have it for 2 more lunches, and I'm pretty fine with that. But if it extends beyond that, I'm likely not to eat it. So it's likely to go to waste. So that's another thing that I wanted to think about as I looked at my meal planning. The other thing you'll probably notice is that I don't necessarily have breakfast here listed, except here on the days Saturday and Sunday when I have my son. And that's because I've been doing intermittent fasting on and off as part of my weight loss plan. And so I don't eat breakfast. I just have, I have my espresso for breakfast. So I don't eat breakfast on any kind of regular basis. So that's why you're seeing empty boxes here. And these are actually, I'm using these for notes for myself about a couple of things on my meal plan. So the first thing is I already mentioned I am making this Instant Pot broccoli and cheddar soup recipe that I saw on YouTube earlier today. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to get started on it, but I know I'm gonna have leftovers. Here's another just quick tip when you are looking at printing recipes online. And maybe I'm late to the party on this, but usually it tells you how many servings it is and that's it. So you have to decide if it's 8 servings, you have to figure out how to have it already. But I did find on the Six Sisters stuff, so I started watching their YouTube channel. I'll link to it below. It's fantastic for looking at different recipes and meal planning. I would highly recommend their channel if you're not already watching them. But when I was printing off some of the recipes on their website that I was going to be making this week, I noticed that some of them have the option to change the serving size. So I could go from 8 to 4, and then it changed the amounts on the recipe right away for me. So that was pretty cool. I was excited about that. That's just something that you might want to watch for when you're printing recipes offline. So the broccoli and cheddar soup, I know I'm gonna have that for leftovers for at least 2 times this week. So I'm gonna have that on Monday and Tuesday. And then I found a recipe for this cheesy beef taco pasta. So my son likes cheeseburgers, or, and he likes pasta. So I figured this could be a win. We'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna try it. And again, I know this is gonna make probably quite a bit. So I'm gonna have leftovers from that. So I have my broccoli and cheese soup. I have that cheesy beef taco pasta. And then I saw another recipe for these homemade pizza rolls that I thought would be kind of fun to try. Again, it's a nice finger food. It's cheese, it's bread, it's a little bit of pepperoni. And then my son really does like fruit. And so the side dish that I saw, one of the side dishes I saw was a mandarin salad. And so I thought if I paired some pizza rolls with some mandarin oranges, that might be a really good win for him. And I'm gonna have the salad version. I'm just gonna give him the fruit. So I have that for Tuesday night with him. Now, Wednesday morning, this is one thing. This is, again, something I'm looking to do to make future meal planning easier for myself, is depending on how much broccoli and cheddar soup I have left. If I have any left on Wednesday, and it's possible I might, I know, again, I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to want to eat it more than 2 times beyond, the initial making it. And so at this point in time, I made a note to myself that if I haven't eaten all of the broccoli and cheddar soup by this point in time, I want to freeze it. So whatever's left, I'll freeze that. And that could be something then that could be a grab and go kind of meal down the road. So I made a note to myself about that. For lunch then, the cheesy beef taco pasta, I'll have that as a leftover for lunch. Here is my potential gotcha day if I wouldn't have thought about this in advance. Now that absolutely would be a night that I would grab something while I'm out, because I'm going to be out. I'm going to an informational seminar for a potential school for my son, because he'll be in kindergarten in about 1.5 years. So I'm trying to plan ahead for that. So I have leftovers though, and I have the easy leftovers of the pizza rolls and the mandarin salad. So I'm gonna have that. I already have that planned, and that should be something that's really easy. Just grab and warm up and make that, and put that salad together. And then I have one more time of those pizza rolls and the salad here on Thursday. And then clearing out the cheesy beef taco pasta again. So again, it's kind of clustered together. I know some people will be like, that's eating the same thing way too many times. But once you kind of go on autopilot, and if it's something that you like, I've found that just being able to grab something and warm it up and not even think about it really gets me past that idea that I've eaten the same thing, a couple of times already in the last couple of days. So that'll be the last time though that I'll have the cheesy beef taco pasta. And I made a note for myself again on Friday that if I have not eaten all of that by that point in time, that I should freeze any of the leftovers that I have left from that. I gave myself a pass on Friday for lunch. And so I do have a budget line item for eating out. And as I was putting this together, I realized I hadn't put any eating out in any one of these boxes. And so that'll be a nice little reward for myself for the week, is eating out, or maybe having like something like Jimmy John's or something like that delivered for lunch on Friday. My son loves mac and cheese. Loves mac and cheese. Again, it's one of the few foods that he will eat, and he likes it. And so that's something that he could probably eat for every meal, and he probably would. But I always feel kind of bad that it's a processed food. I'm always making like the craft, some of the single versions and stuff like that, the individual versions of that. I saw a recipe on one of the YouTube videos again of an Instant Pot macaroni and cheese. And so I thought that would be something fun to try. And that's also something that's really easy that he might enjoy making with me on Friday night. So that's something that we could potentially do together because it doesn't have a ton of ingredients and it's something that he likes. So I have that slotted for Friday nights. On Saturday and Sunday morning, it's breakfast can be a little bit of a free-for-all, but I thought my son will probably like, biscuits and jelly. That would be something easy for him. And then we have the leftovers, the mac and cheese, and then I have, if there are any leftovers for the pizza rolls, because that's not something I was thinking about freezing, then I can pull those in for lunch. And then I'm making sweet and tangy meatballs on Saturday night, because again, finger food that I figured would be kid-friendly, and he would enjoy serving that over just simple white rice. So mac and cheese again with the leftovers of the meatballs on Sunday. And then I have a new recipe that I'll start. It's the cheesy chicken and pasta recipe. I'll make that next Sunday night. So buying the ingredients for this meal plan cost $75. Now that $75 included a couple of additional things, like a jar of garlic that I won't need to buy again probably for a while. That will get me through a lot of recipes. I had to buy a couple of spices. So that isn't all things that will be completely used up over the course of this week. But that was, and I also bought some nail polish. So that $75 is probably more like, $60 of actual food that will be eaten across the course of the week. And that is very much in line. It's actually below what I could be spending on my grocery budget for the week. So very excited about that. Now, I would love to hear in the comments below, how does menu planning go for you? Has it been something that's easy? Is it something that's hard? Even if you have a favorite recipe, like a one-pot recipe, I would love to hear that because I'm researching those like crazy, looking for new options for myself and my son. But these are the strategies that I've really thought about for being able to shift my mindset, save some money, and cook for 1.5 people through menu planning. So if you like the content of this video and you would like to hear more from me, click the like button, hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you again next time. Stay tuned.